Hello lovelies, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm here today with another AI recipe. We're gonna make some corn chowder. Now I've never made corn chowder before, so this will be a first for me. In researching this recipe, however, I have found that there are several different ways to make corn chowder. Some of them added celery and carrots, others of them used heavy whipping cream, some of them added bacon for some reason. There's a ton of different ways. Let's get started. To start out, we're gonna peel and cut 2 potatoes. Here I have 4 smaller potatoes, but because they're small potatoes, it's approximately the equivalent of 2 potatoes. So we're just gonna go ahead and use these. After peeling the potatoes, I moved on to cutting the onions rather than cutting the potatoes because that makes sense. First, slice off the top of the onion, then cut your onion in half to where you cut down half of the roots. Flip the onion over and cut about 90% of the way through the onion. Then turn your onion and start chopping at a 90-degree angle. And this will give you beautifully diced onions. Now I'm going to show you, while you're chopping an onion, why it is very important to keep your nails towards the blade. In 3, 2, 1. Yes, I did cut my finger, and yes, I did have to clean up the knife and my finger after. So you're going to see a band-aid for the rest of the film. Now, do I actually remember this as I cut potatoes? No, I do not. But it's definitely something that I need to work on. With my bloody blender out of the way, let's finish dicing our potatoes and get to cooking our chowder. We begin by heating up, over medium heat, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 teaspoons of garlic and our diced onion that we cut up earlier. We cook this for about 5 minutes or until the onion is translucent. This means that the cells have lost enough moisture that you can see through most of them, but not long enough for the onions to brown. Once you've reached the right opacity, it's time to add the potatoes and the corn. Here I'm adding 2 cups of corn, and looking back, I probably could have added about 2.5 to 3 cups, and I still would have had enough left over for my stuffed avocados, spoiler. But for today's purposes, we're just doing 2 cups. Stir this up and heat for another few minutes. Now, when researching this, there was not one other recipe that had you pre-fry the potatoes and the corn, which I found very interesting. I went through about 10 different recipes trying to find one that would give me an explanation as to why I would want to pre-fry the potatoes. Coming up empty, I finally just asked the AI. And it's kind of hard to disagree with its reasoning here. I'll display it on the screen, so if you'd like to read it, feel free, but basically it caramelizes the natural sugars in the corn and the potatoes, and then it helps the potatoes maintain their shape. It also makes sure that they are properly seasoned and they're cooked evenly. So with this new knowledge, onward to our chowdery meal. From here, I needed to add 4 cups of vegetable broth. I didn't have any vegetable broth, I only had chicken broth. So I added 2 cups of chicken broth, and I didn't have any more chicken broth. So I added 2 cups of bouillon cubes and water. The poor man's version of chicken broth. Once you've heated everything up to a boil, grab your immersion blender and start blending. You're gonna blend about half of the chowder into a cream, and the other half is just gonna stay chunky. Keep going until you have reached whatever consistency you feel is about half of the mixture. After that, you're going to add 1 cup of milk. And of course, your salt and pepper. Lots of pepper. Maybe too much pepper. Who am I kidding? It was delicious. Cook for an additional 5 minutes, and then it's ready to serve. Ladle it up into a bowl, and then you can add some cheese on top. This was much thinner than a typical chowder, or at least what I expected a typical chowder to be. When I heated it up the next day, I added a half a teaspoon of cornstarch, and that seemed to thicken it up just right. So I don't think that this was thick enough, but it still tasted really good. I probably could have used some more spices, maybe some more vegetables, but overall, pretty good recipe. Cooking with the AI has been a bit of a challenge, but I've actually learned a lot. I will probably continue to make more AI recipe type videos, although I will probably adjust them as we go, because the AI cannot account for taste. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a lovely day.